What's up, guys? It's Casey Zogelman, aka the Fourth Sanderson Sister, coming at you with another Hocus Pocus video. In today's video, I'm going to get a little personal as I explain to you all how I relate to the eldest Sanderson sister, Winifred. I decided to do this little series after I talked briefly about how our love for the sisters goes beyond their villainy in my reaction video to the making of Hocus Pocus 2 featurette, which you can watch by clicking on this thing right here. I've never really tapped into this part of my brain to see why I relate to these characters as much as I do, so I hope you enjoy the video. Where do I even begin with Winifred? I always liked her because she had the best lines in the first movie. To be fair, this did get evened out in 2. Back in the day, I liked her a lot, but when I was a kid, she was kind of my least favorite because I didn't like how she beat up Mary and Sarah. Of course, as I have gotten older, she ranks even with the other two. I appreciate her a lot more now. And I think what originally attracted me to her character was just her sheer confidence. I was a shy kid, and I'm still very introverted as an adult. Hard to believe, you know, considering I do this every week, but I am an introvert, and Winifred is not. She's the most confident character I have ever seen in fictional history. Winnie walks out of the cottage every day and does everything without second-guessing herself. I have never been able to do that. I am always second and third guessing, maybe sometimes fourth guessing every move I make. Winifred just executes the plan she comes up with without a second glance. Sure, those tend to end in total disaster.
Magicae Maxima, Convatio, rescind the spell.
But, okay, I'd say she learned from her mistakes, but, anyway. Okay, she did learn at the end of Hocus Pocus 2, but the point is, she comes up with a plan, sticks to her guns, and executes it. She's confident in her abilities, sometimes overconfident, and she works to achieve her goals. I think that's a big reason that the fandom loves her. It's her confidence. So let's actually examine a nice, shining example of that in the first movie. Let's examine the I put a spell on you scene just a little bit closer to really dig into how confident Winifred is. This is a very uncomfortable and unusual situation that she and her sisters are suddenly thrust into. It's evident when Max started talking that they didn't usually like having attention called to them, especially Winifred. Calling attention to her was never a good thing, and she hated it because it always meant something bad was going to happen to her or her sisters. But when this happened, she rolled with it and took the spotlight. She came up with a plan on the spot in that party and just freaking did it. She got up in front of all of Salem and sang her heart out, only just learning about such performances a few minutes prior to doing it, and she was confident enough in her and her sister's abilities to try this, and it succeeded. She went for it and got the result she wanted. Her confidence was clearly so infectious that Mary and Sarah felt it too and jumped in right alongside her. While she was looking confident at the start, take a look at the two of them.
Put a spell on you. And now you're mine.
I admire that so much, and I wish I had the stones to do that, but I get freaked out when people ask me to go do karaoke with them. But I also feel Winifred's level of confidence when I come up with an idea that involves a subject that I am very well versed in. I get that laser focused on seeing it through from beginning to end, and I admit it, I don't like it when other people input their ideas for something I came up with and I have a clear plan for, even if they're just trying to help. I mean, don't we all feel that way sometimes, though? That when this happens, it's like our ideas aren't good enough, or they aren't everything they should be. I think that's why Winifred gets just so dang defensive when either Sarah or Mary try to correct her. I know I get defensive when people start pointing out flaw after flaw in a plan that I felt I thought through. Don't you guys? I know once I get all that stuff pointed out, I kind of shut down and give in and do everything that person wanted instead of what I wanted, and I don't necessarily feel as fulfilled at the end of the day. Winifred just does the thing she planned to do and goes through with it, even if it does tend to blow up in her face. But here's a reason I think a lot of us feel connected to her. It's the loudmouth, sarcastic attitude where she always speaks her mind. This is something a lot of us admire about her, me especially. It's something we all love and want for ourselves. We want to be able to say exactly what is on our mind at any given moment. We want to be able to shout and scream at people who are bothering us. We also want the talent of coming up with such amazing insults and comebacks on the fly. A personal favorite I have always wanted to whip out in customer service jobs is this one.
Go to hell! Oh, I've been there, thank you. I found it quite lovely.
Winifred has the best lines, we can all agree on that, but it's the freedom she expresses when dropping those nuggets of gold on us that I think we all admire so much. Relating to her on this level, though, it's more behind closed doors. We all blow off steam behind the scenes from our regular lives, whether it involves family or friends or work. I mean, I know I do, and I've talked a lot like Winifred when I'm doing that. We all love her fire. We love the attitude to speak her mind. We love her ability to speak her mind no matter who is on the receiving end of it. And that's really hard for me to do, and I want to be able to do that. Because, like, if somebody's doing something that bothers me, I tend to just kind of let it go most of the time, and I just kind of let it sit in my head and stew, instead of just saying, hey, could you stop? Could you stop? I don't have that confidence to do that. But why I relate to Winifred the most, it isn't her confidence, it's not her loudmouth ways, it's not executing plans regardless of criticism, it's her vulnerability, her facade, and her unyielding love for her sisters. Winifred's outward confidence is a facade that hides who she really is. A self-conscious, protective, scared girl who just wants to be happy. I get this on a spiritual level. Winifred grew up being looked at as different, the black sheep of Salem. She had other people forcing their ideals on her, making her think the only way to have a good life was to do everything they did to be the same as everyone else. Grow up, get married, have a family, you're happy. That's not what Winifred wanted. She wanted to stay single, and she even said that if she were to marry, it would be Billy Butcherson. If she were to marry. Not when. If. Winifred was perfectly happy by herself, raising her sisters. She didn't need to be like everyone else, even though everyone else scrutinized her every move. And it's not like it didn't get to her, because we can see that it definitely did. She expressed it through annoyance with those pressing their ideals on her by, as one woman so boldly put it, relishing in her petulance. She kept building up her personality until she finally believed enough in herself to stand up to Trask. Sure, everything went wrong, but she managed to save her sisters and find a way to remain true to herself, at least until the prospect of power corrupted her good-natured caring. But that's another video. I feel this so heavily in my heart because I know exactly how this feels. I know what it's like being on the outs, being looked at as the black sheep, not fitting into someone else's ideals, being bullied. Winifred was bullied as a kid, point blank. She was bullied. What makes it worse is she was bullied by adults pushing their ideals on her when that's not what would make her happy. But they made her feel bad because she wasn't exactly like the rest of Salem. I totally get that feeling when it comes to my life. I was bullied relentlessly in middle school by people who thought they were better than me for one reason or another. You know why I got bullied? Do you want to know why I got bullied? For the same reasons as Winifred. I was protecting someone dear to me. I wasn't a cookie-cutter middle schooler who was too cool for school, who didn't care about their grades, who was a cheerleader, who was popular, all that jazz. And I was different. I spent my time writing, using my imagination, a thing that most middle schoolers have lost at that point, watching shows that I loved and reading books rather than going to parties and football games. I showed off my nerdiness, and that got me thrown under the bus. What I loved, the stuff that gave me joy, yeah, that stuff wasn't cool. It wasn't cool by middle school standards. The kid I was protecting, yeah, he was just like me, and I loved hanging out with him. We had the best conversations about Pokemon and Star Wars and other nerdy stuff that we loved. But he got singled out because he was set off easily, and the kids who were bullying us liked to set him off. Myself and one of my best friends stood up for him, then we were essentially dragged through the mud. But you know what, witches and wizards? I would do it all again because he was somebody worth fighting for. I completely understand how hard Winifred fought to keep her sisters from being taken away and likely placed in a home full of people who would not have treated them right. I am very, very loyal to my select few. My close friends are family to me, and I will fight to the bitter end for them just like Winifred. Like, everything she did to protect her sisters, yes. I also get where she's coming from when it comes to the whole marriage thing. You guys hear me joke a lot about being a kindly old spinster lady since I'm single. I'm not joking about being happy, though. I'm really happy being single, and, like Winifred, if I ever do get married, it's going to be with someone I really love and care about. It will be my soulmate, and not just someone that somebody sets me up with. I absolutely hate the idea of being set up on a date. I know a lot of people have found love that way. That's not for me. I want to find the person, create a bond with them, connect emotionally, and then I have a reason to pursue a relationship with them and imagine a future with them. But until that time, I'm perfectly happy being a kindly old spinster lady. And bouncing off of that, I fully and unequivocally relate to Winifred being the black sheep of her village, because I am the black sheep of mine. I'm not talking about the whole town I live in, obviously, but I'm part of a huge family that acts very similarly to each other, and I just don't fit in. Never have, never will. And while I'm happy, it does hurt sometimes to be so different that the people who are supposed to love and support you tend to push you to the side because you're not like them. I'm so different from my village that I am always on the outs and in an uncomfortable situation when I'm thrust into these village parties. I still love them, though. My village is also very traditional in the sense of, to be happy, you have to get married and have kids, and that's just not necessarily something I want. That's not necessarily my idea of happiness. I'm happy doing my own thing without those two things right now. I think that really pushes me to the side of the village because I'm at the age when most of them got married and started having families. They just don't know what to talk to me about because I don't have kids. I don't have a significant other. Not to mention, I just don't know jack about sports, and I find them very boring. And that's all the village seems to talk about sometimes. I also have a Trask in my life who thinks they're holier than thou and makes darn sure to treat me like I'm nothing unless I fit into their box. If you're part of our Discord, which you really should be if you're not, I've talked about my Trask before in there, and I'll go into that a little more in the Sarah video. But like Winifred, it took me a very long time of building up my personality and relishing in my petulance to really be myself, and now that I've reached that pinnacle, I'm not bending for anybody. I'll do all the work she did to let my village know I am who I am, and if they don't like it, they can get over it. But at the end of the day, like Winifred, it does hurt, and that hurt, especially towards my Trask, expresses itself as anger. Why am I not good enough for your village? Why do I get overlooked? But then I realize, as long as I have my close friends, my little coven, I'm fine and I'm happy. I also think this is why a lot of the LGBTQIA+ community, that's getting to be a mouthful, looks up to Winifred specifically. They've been in her shoes. They've been persecuted for being different and unusual, and it bothers them. But once they reached the point where they found their coven and found them to be the most important thing, they're golden. Her confidence in herself gave them the confidence to be themselves. Winifred's a wicked, child essence stealing villain at the base of her character, but that's not necessarily why we love her and relate to her. It goes far beyond the villainy. It's what she represents for all of us. She's the leader of the black sheep who just want to be happy in their own skin. The loudmouth, sarcastic, confident witch holding up a facade so no one can see how vulnerable she is sometimes. This is why fans relate to Winifred Sanderson, not because she preys on kids and wants to be young forever, but because she's just like the rest of us outcasts. She's human. And she just wants to be happy being herself. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't. It's free. It helps me. What helps me helps you guys get more great content like this. I will be doing a Mary video and a Sarah video along these same lines, so you guys will get to learn a little bit more about your girl. On July 16th, I will be doing a Hocus Pocus 30th Anniversary Trivia and Treats Watch-Along here on the channel at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will be doing, like I said, a watch-along of the Trivia and Treats edition of Hocus Pocus here on the channel. If you can get me to 1,500 subscribers by then, I will dress up as Sarah Sanderson, full hair, makeup, costume, etc. for the watch-along. But you gotta get me to 1,500 subscribers if you want that one. Please, please, please. Please. I would really like that. Black Flame Gaming will be back on Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I had to take last week off because I was gone at a con, which, before I sign off, I want to show you guys a really cool piece of merch that I got that y'all are gonna like. I got Book. I finally got Book. Look at him. His details are so amazing. He looks awesome. His back looks awesome. And you know what? That's not the spell I wanted to show. Or that. Where's a good one? Where's a good one? Oh, there we go. It's even got the spells in it. I was like, I'm trying to find one that you guys will recognize. So, it's really cool, and I like it. Just had to show him off for a second. If you're a regular on this channel, please remember to drop a like, share why you relate to Winifred Sanderson in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Casey Zogelman, aka the 4th Sanderson Sister, and I'll see you witches and wizards later.